A very good evening. Sky News Tonight has an eyewitness report tonight on the latest treacherous route for migrants to enter Europe. It runs from Morocco to southern Spain and numbers have nearly doubled over the past year. Our team saw 44 men and women brought ashore in just 2 hours, rescued from inflatable dinghies. The coastguard told us all their search and rescue units are now being deployed to try to save them. Now, the two most established migrant routes into Europe are now heavily patrolled. The eastern Mediterranean route from Turkey into Greece has had more than 15,000 crossings since January. Nearly 94,000 crossings were made on the central Mediterranean route, that's from Libya to Italy. Now, the third route is known as the Western Mediterranean, where migrants travel north through Africa all the way to Morocco, making the journey then across the sea to Tarifa, a small town on the southernmost coast of Cadiz. More than 9,000 migrants have crossed using the route since the start of the year. And from there, our correspondent Rebecca Williams reports.
This is the third rescue in as many hours. Men and women attempting to illegally enter Spain. They're cold, petrified, but relieved. Using inflatable dinghies, they've made the journey from Africa. For thousands of migrants, the Gibraltar Straits are the new gateway to Europe, and the crossing is a long and terrifying one. Abdullah Aziz, who's just 16, tells me it was well worth the risk.
L'eau rentrait, donc ça arrivait juste ici. Donc on était vraiment... Dieu merci, on a croisé Salvamento qui nous a vraiment aidés. Sinon c'était pas... On était entre la vie et la mort.
The Tarifa Coast Guard is busier than ever. There's been a 100% increase in migrant rescues in the last year.
Every day we have approximately 1, 2 or 3 inflatable boats just trying to cross the Gibraltar Strait. And also it's now just increasing the small boats, inflatable, but with more persons on board. So it's approximately 30 persons or 40 persons on board.
Whilst interviewing Jose, we spot yet another rescue boat, this time bringing 30 people to shore. This is now a familiar sight in Spain. Last week, 583 migrants were rescued off the south coast in a single day, including this group in Almeria. We travelled the 10-mile journey on one of the regular passenger ferries from Spain to Morocco.
The sea here is incredibly choppy, and yet still people make that journey from Morocco to the south of Spain. The reason for that isn't just its close proximity, but also because they're now cracking down on other routes via Libya.
And it's for that reason that many sub-Saharan Africans now make their way here to Tangiers in Morocco in order to reach Europe. Nestled in the hills in the poorest parts of the city is where the migrants call home. Dadaidalo has already attempted the crossing to Spain 10 times, but failed.
Moi, mon rêve, c'est pour mon parent. Je suis le premier fils de mon père et mon maman. C'est moi qui devais travailler pour envoyer l'argent. Et ils sont là-bas et comptent sur moi ici, parce que je suis le premier fils. Moi, mon rêve, toujours quand je dorme avec un rêve de mon parent.
So frequent have crossings from Tangiers to Tarifa become that most migrants are now travelling in daylight hours, even to popular tourist resorts. A couple of weeks ago, this footage was captured on a packed Spanish beach, but for many locals, these scenes now come as no surprise.
I saw the boats arrive to the beach, and they arrive 40 or 50 immigrants.
And what did people do? Did they help them?
Yes, they help because they'll help them. Water, sandwich they have on the beach, and they...
Their eyes?
Yeah, the eyes say thank you.
On the beaches in southern Spain, remnants from boats and dinghies line the coastline, reminders of the human struggles that many endure in order to reach here. But that too is causing concern of yet another influx of migrants arriving in Europe. Rebecca Williams, Sky News in Tarifa, the south of Spain.
And Rebecca joins me live now from Tarifa. So, Rebecca, it seems as one route becomes more difficult, another one is established.
Yes, absolutely, and that is because there's been a huge crackdown on routes via Libya and Turkey. Of course, traditionally, migrants tended to head towards Italy and Greece, but now it seems that Spain is the alternative. It's an easy option because of its close proximity, and of course the weather conditions are pretty favourable. Now here in Tarifa they are under enormous pressure to try and deal with the situation. 9,500 migrants this year have made it to Spanish shores. That's almost double the same period last year, so a huge number. The majority of migrants are coming from areas like the Gambia, the Ivory Coast, and places like Sierra Leone, essentially sub-Saharan Africa, and they are making their way here not only in rubber dinghies, as you saw in my report, but also wooden boats, even jet skis. And so the Coast Guard has to respond to these call-outs on a daily basis. Now, very often the migrants will get to the middle of the ocean and they will contact the Coast Guard themselves via telephone. In other situations, local boats will spot them and they will call the Coast Guard themselves. But this is seriously a very severe problem at the moment here in Tarifa and other parts of Spain, further down the coast in Almeria. They are also experiencing a similar problem. But the worry is now that there will be this influx of migrants heading into Europe and then towards countries like France, Germany and even Britain.
Rebecca, thank you very much indeed.